what are the levers for using biocontrol and for introducing them as we move forward as plant protection tools? There are a number of these that are increasing in their use against insect pests, diseases, and weeds. It is a growing area where there is less impact on the environment and human health. They are generally highly specific, some more so than others, but you have a range of these things that are able to be employed and used for specific problem areas and to restore the balance. They are able to be used and often form a cornerstone of IPM. And it's important as we go forward that we look at that as the important area, that they are IPM friendly and that they are a basis for IPM. The negative sides, and this isn't my opinion, but these are the things that come forward from people when they're saying, oh yes, but that's biological, they have poor efficacy or efficiency. No, they don't. They often have less, but it's the expectation that you're looking for, and you're looking to control the pest and disease. You're not looking at creating a barren environment where you've gone from a high extreme up there down to a low, and then you're going back on this pendulum. What you're looking at is trying to maintain that balancy and understanding the efficiency, understanding that timing, that you may need to put it on that bit earlier or you won't get that control. It's certainly more fragile than a chemical technique. It requires expertise. It requires an understanding of what is happening in your crop. If we look at it as we go forward, cost is always a criticism. Now, some biocontrol agents are very cheap. Others are not as cheap and may cost more than the equivalent control. However, if we're looking at it, we look at this overall as well, because as society moves forward, we have other costs that are involved, not just the direct costs, and they should all be involved. And also, if we look at it, we're looking at putting it on when it's needed, and unless we're talking about the prophylactic use of things like pheromones, what we are often doing is finding that we're not needing to intervene to the same extent we did when we were looking at wiping it out and then letting it build up again and working that way. It requires knowledge of biological data. I don't apologize for that. It is something that needs a better understanding, but we should have that anyway. And there are resources out there, and that's what this project, the BET project, is all about, making sure that that resource is shared. Also, adaptation to environmental conditions. Yeah, we need to understand those environmental conditions, how it interacts with it. And for instance, you would not apply a nematode for controlling slugs or controlling codling moth unless you had wet soil and you were applying it so that it survived. Because if the thing doesn't survive, there is no point in making that application. So yes, you need to understand the environmental conditions, and you need to adapt your techniques to going in there and applying it at the right time. Low availability, that is increasing all the time as the uptake of biocontrol techniques is increased. Marketing authorizations. I don't really want to start on this because it's been a bugbear of mine for many years that the systems have been developed for chemicals and chemical authorizations, and that is gradually changing. It's taken a lot of effort from many people, but it is changing, and we are seeing more of these coming to market. We are seeing more authorization of biological biocontrol techniques than we are of chemical techniques now. So if we look at the market and the players, we're looking around that 5% at the last figures that were taken out. It's more in some crops than others: protected crop, protected agriculture, specialty crops. It's higher, but we're looking at 5% of the market, and we're looking at growing that to 15% by 2025. And if we look at 2030, I would like to see us at around 50% of the market by then. Who are the stakeholders? I would say, in summing it up, we're all those stakeholders, whether we're researchers, companies, distributors, the crop walkers, the prescribers, society, farmers, and government. We've all got a part to play in biocontrol and the proper implementation of IPM by using biocontrol-rich systems. We're looking at a growing number of companies across the world that are producing biocontrol substances, that are members of IBMA, and are also members of similar associations under the BPG, Bioprotection Global umbrella across the globe. So there is a very strong growth as we go forward.